Now coming back to what Center for Environmental Efficiency have done their research in connection with the Global Footprint Network and biocapacity and ecological footprint. And I will be explaining how I have partnered. My conceptually, even though physical partnership, there is no physical partnership, but conceptually, I have taken the researches done by UNDP as well as Global Footprint Network. That means these two things, biocapacity and ecological footprint, I have taken from that means global footprints calculations, and I have taken human development indicators of UNDP. And these are the three constituent terms or constituent ideas which I have used to formulate this environmental efficiency and carrying capacity theory. And it is relevant because what all this thing, COVID pandemic, they are telling that 3 weeks delay or 22 days delay has occurred because of the COVID pandemic. The people are sitting inside the house and without doing anything and conserving or that is postponing our overshoot day. That does not have any meaning. Human existence and human welfare should be ensured in order to have a sustainable earth. Without giving importance to humans, nothing is practicable, and it is not correct also. Human prosperity and convenience and their happiness is required, otherwise it is not sustainable. So that is the reason I have taken the human development and the most in the numerator. And this is the concept. The people who have attended earlier session, they might have seen this video. This is formulated by, that means by giving ideas, formulated by one architect intern. And she's based Bangalore. I forgot her name. And she has developed this. That means Earth will be happy when both humans as well as the ecological footprint is less, so that humans are happy. Humans has happy with the ecological footprint because Earth's capacity is only limited and it cannot increase. It cannot, in fact, it is reducing because of the human intervention. So ecological footprint is reduced and human development is increased. That kind of condition, Earth will be happy. Otherwise, Earth will be very sad. And nowadays, Earth is very sad. That is the reason Earth is creating so much of problems because of the natural disasters and so many things, because Earth cannot sustain these kind of activities. That means high ecological footprint, and humans are also unhappy in this case. When the Earth is unhappy or humans are unhappy, Earth is also unhappy. It is crying. And this is the environmental efficiency theory depicted as a tree. That means human development, consumption and capacity. That is tree bottom. That is the bottom is biocapacity, and the arrow is the consumption, and the human development is on the top. That is the products. And the constituent components are life expectancy at birth. It is indicative of health. Then DNA per capita, it is indicative of economics. That means money, income. And when these two factors, mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling, it indicates education. These three things are included in that human development concept. And in fact, E and CC coins, this is the real concept. Once we are attaining E, CC will be attained. It is like two sides of a coin. So we have to concentrate on attaining environmental efficiency. Naturally, carrying capacity will be developed. And this environmental efficiency theory has global to local application. It is not that between nations, between states, between districts and between cities, we can calculate this environmental efficiency, and at a personal level also. And these are the calculations done for the environmental efficiency and carrying capacity. And see, I told you, Georgia was showing a very good figure. So that at that time, that when I calculated it, is Georgia's environmental efficiency 5.63. But India's environmental efficiency is quite high because of its low ecological footprint. And India has attained a lot in human development in sphere with least resources, so that India's environmental efficiency is quite high. India has to project their ranking and in front of the international community that we are attaining this much of efficiency with respect to our consumption. And while the other very high boasting countries, they are having low environmental efficiency. Their achievements with respect to capacity is quite low. Australia 1.06, USA 1.28, like that. Then Brazil 2.47. So India is having high environmental efficiency from time immemorial itself. That's it. I calculated this based on my 2000 in 2008-9, based on the database of 2005. No, it is based on 2013. So this is the trend. India has having very high environmental efficiency. And this is a further modification of the environmental efficiency theory. This is improvisation of environmental efficiency theory, because UNDP till 2010, they have not accounted the inequality dimension in the human development calculations. In 2010, they have introduced inequality dimension also, so that this environmental efficiency is further improvised as inequality adjusted environmental efficiency. And in order to identify it in a separate way, that means it is different from what I have done in my thesis dissertation. It is simply environmental efficiency, and I just wanted to give a different name, so that I have given the value, May value, that is for the TED presentation which was conducted in 2017. And this is the environmental efficiency along with inequality dimension is incorporated in this May value consideration. And later I thought, I just reviewed whether I should stick on to this name. Then I thought the word May has got a very good meaning, just like this is our wish, our prayer, and our hope. That is the meaning. So let it be there, because a very simple name, anybody can remember it, it is a very familiar name. The month of May is there, and also May is used in many English language. It's a word, so that May is a very, very common name, common word, so that I stick on to this May value. So in this May value calculation, health, education, income, GNA per capita, ecological footprint, inequality, all these things are considered. That means May value, or IE, inequality adjusted environmental efficiency, is IHDI by EFP. That means inequality adjusted human development index, because in 2010 only they have introduced United Nations IHD by I by EFP. And these are the improvisation of E and C series, May value and tone value, which I have formulated for the TED presentation. I thought I will share this here also. This is IHD by EFP. What is the concept is that this is the input, ecological footprint is the input, and we want inequality adjusted human development. That should be the output. And the constituent components of IHDA are wellness, skill development, income, and equity. That means whatever achievements are weighing, it should be achievements are made at city level or any system. We have to share it to the people in a justifiable way. The exploitation is not justified. Over exploitation of nature as well, over exploitation of the people are not sustainable. So we have to have intra-generational sustainability. So May value, or this inequality adjusted environmental efficiency, is a right indicator of intra-generational sustainability. And while this tone value is intergenerational sustainability, that means between the generation. If the tone value is negative, that means it is not advisable. Tone value should be positive, so that our children also should be able to enjoy nature and Earth's biocapacity. Otherwise, there will be terrible things are going to happen for our generations. And free air, free water, all these things they were getting, it all will be stopped, and they will be suffering with the diseases, and they will not be having, there will be air pollution, they will not having good water to drink, and they will have so many problems. So we have to conserve our resources for the future. So tone value should be positive. And human development and E and CC scenario, that means I have done some calculations for some countries, 2013 and 2019 scenario. And Georgia, in, 0.74, India 0.59, so Japan 0.89. So that some figures are there for that. For the world, it is 0.7 in 2013. That means HDI. And IHDI is again 0.54. That means inequality dimension. Because of the inequality, there are some losses to the human development. So they have quantified as percentage. That percentage of human development is reduced from the HDI, so that IHDI is obtained. And based on that, E and CC, we have calculated. That means in this calculation, only E and CC, not the inequality adjustment is not in the calculation. So E and CC are calculated for the year 2013. It is coming as 2.5 and 0.65. That means the carrying capacity is below 1. That means it is not sufficient. That means the ecological overshooting is there. It should be at least 1. And when it comes to, that means 2019 scenario, it is environmental efficiency has increased. So it is a very good sign. So human development achievements with respect to ecological footprint has increased, while this CC has reduced. CC has further reduced. So that is a terrible situation. It should be nearer to 1. And where is India's position? 2019 scenario, HDI versus IHDI of UNDP, HDI, IHDI and its subcomponents. I'm taking only the UNDP calculations. And for HDI, life expectancy, indicative of health, life expectancy at birth, expected years of schooling and mean years of schooling as indicative of education, and DNA per capita indicative of income. And these are the constant components, and we are getting, for developed countries, it is 0.898. That is the average for the world. That is, for developed countries, it is 0.89, while for the world average, it is 0.373. And for India, it is 0.64. And the least developed countries, it is 0.53. That means India's human development is slightly nearer to least development countries. We could not achieve much human development because at this point, the gap is more with respect to world, and India could not achieve the human development as sort of an average world citizen. So that is the indication. And again, we are calculating the IHDI, inequality adjusted human development. It is further reduced. India's human development is reduced by so much of percentage. That means 26.4% losses are there, so that it is reduced to again 0.475. While for the world, it is only 20.4. For the developed countries, it is only the inequality percentage losses are only 10.9. So the country status increase, that means human development increase, level increases, inequality dimension is diminishing. So in order to achieve India a better place to live, we have to concentrate on inequality. So where is India's position? That means with respect to HT and IHT, India's inequality is very high, and it is nearer to least developed countries. So these are the things India should address in order to achieve right way of human development. So HTA versus inequality, some graphs are telling that I already told you, as the human development increases, inequality reduces. And also income variation. This is a bar chart for income variation. That means per capita income is very, very high compared to the world average or India's or least developed countries. So that some of the countries are grabbing most of the world's resources and world's income. That is a real imbalance for the world, which is to be addressed. Again, in 2019 scenario, I have calculated all these HDI, IHDI, then BC, then E, CC, pay value, tone value, all these things are calculated. And for the world, it is 0.737, while IHDA has reduced due to inequality. Again, all these values are there. So that is the trend compared to India compared to rest of the country. India's overshoot day is not calculated by Global Product Network. Probable reasons: India's development characteristics are nearer to least developed countries, and figures which are below world average. India's environmental efficiency is very high compared to the world average, so that they cannot tell India to consume less, because we are consuming very less, and with respect to our development. And also, India is biocapacity deficient. India should address to improve the biocapacity by dedicated ecosystem conservation. That means our ecosystems and biologically productive areas are to be conserved in a most scientific. It should be preserved, or conservation efforts are to be made in a most efficient manner. As I told you, India's overshoot day is May 1st. And India cannot be called, even though some items, some reports are there, India is a role model, but India cannot be called a role model country as its HD achievements are below world average. So we have to increase our HD. By streamlining our consumption, we have to go towards human development. That is not extravagant spending. Why India should, what is a stand to be taken by India? Because India should take a very strong stand as far as global warming is concerned. Because we can see this scientific report, Indian Ocean storing up heat from global warming, says study. That means Indian Ocean, because what all earlier and all, some of the scientific reports are there, Pacific Ocean is heating up and the problems are going to occur. But now, as per the latest study, they are telling India is the worst place which will be affected, because Indian Ocean, because of the ocean currents, El Niños, and all those things, surface height anomalies, everything. India is very the worstly affected place because of the global warming, and we are getting some signs of, because Kerala coast is very near to Indian Ocean, so that we are getting very signs of it, just telling that our cloud pattern has changed, cloud intensity has been, flood has occurred just because of the totally man-made. It is natural also. That's what the report says. So Kerala will be the worst affected region if the global warming issues are not addressed properly. And also, second one is India altogether, because it is all surrounded by India's peninsula is surrounded by Indian Ocean and its nearby Gulf regions. That means Arabian and Arabian region, and also that India should be very serious about making, that is, international community to coming to global partnerships to reduce global consumption, to reduce ecological footprint, so, and also increase the biocapacity, so that the some negative effects of all these things are coming to India. India should be very catalytic approach. India should take, and Indian peninsula itself should take these kind of scientific approaches like E and CC theories, and they should attain there. They should show to the world how environmental efficiency and carrying capacity will be useful for rightful environmental management, and India should take the leading role in that is in inculcating, or that is facilitating other countries to work seriously for the cause of global warming. Biocapacity trading in lieu of human development based on E and CC theory. That is a strategy which can be applied from global level to local level. Between nations, we can apply, and between countries, and that means nations between countries, and also between states in a country, between cities in a country, and also between people. That means at the individual level also we can practice biocapacity trading in lieu of human development. That means if you are helping the person who, everybody has got some biocapacity rights. That means a global average, that means 1.6 earth global hectares. That is every person in this earth have that right. So if we are consuming, we have to borrow some biocapacity rights from the person who has not achieved human development, so that we will be giving in terms of human development, either in terms of money or in terms of education or in terms of health regainment and rightful, that means activities, value based activities. We have to give them and share their resources. If I am sharing, I am taking a very underdeveloped or very sharing with, I'm making a deal that I have got this much of money or this much of human development with me, and you have got this much of biocapacity. I am exceeding my ecological footprint is exceeding my biocapacity rights, and the other person is not exceeding, and we has not attained that much human development also, so that his rights in a very conceptual way, we will just think it at our mind. I'll be sharing to this person this much of, I will enable this person this much of human development, and I will be giving money, or I'll be giving education, I will be giving good the health standards, facilitating good health standards, so that their human development levels are increased, and in a most justifiable manner, I will take the average of my biocapacity as well as his my ecological footprint and his ecological footprint, so that my environmental efficiency, both of us together, environmental efficiency is in a very good, having a good figure. So that means the individual level, and also business establishments and local bodies, between local bodies we can include. So how in the international level we can adopt this biocapacity trading in view of human development? That is the last, that means a few more slides are there. This is a real interesting, and it's in fact an innovation. Based on when I started making presentations, I thought I'll take this graph which I made for my thesis, and this is a 2005 2008-9 data, and this is, I have plotted, I have made a scatter diagram with HDI in the x-axis and EFPA in the y-axis. So this I directly taken from my thesis, and this graph, and this is the general trend, HDI versus ecological footprint versus human development index of the world nations. And this is the general trend. This is a curvilinear in pattern. There's a horizontal portion here, there's a slanting portion here, and there's a vertical portion here. So, and this biocapacity, these calculations I have again bifurcated into low HDA countries, medium HDA countries, and high HDA countries. And we can see that if you are microscopically examining, we can see that there are, see the slides, there is a red zone, this is a gray zone, as well as green zone. Red zones, we'll see, this is the meaning is that, see, certain level, it is going horizontal. That means they are not achieving, going horizontal. That means they are attaining without much ecological footprint, they are remaining like that. So again, green zone, they are going, ecological footprint is increasing. And finally, at some level, this ecological footprint, this graph is going vertical. That means not much of human development increase, it's going vertical. So I have divided into three zones, like red zone, gray zone, and green zone. And what I suggest is biocapacity should be traded between these red zones are the highly developed countries where their environmental efficiency is quite low. And these gray things are like that, their biocapacity is quite high. So these places, these countries should give biocapacity to these red zone countries, and they have to take human development. And red zone countries and should be in a condition to transfer, that is, share their human development achievements, and they should enable the least developed countries, and considering their biocapacity rights which they have got by birth. In African countries, their biocapacity rights are quite high. They are taking very low ecological footprint. So considering one red zone country and one gray zone country, if you are biocapacity trading between human development and biocapacity trading is taking place, both the countries will attain environmental efficiency and carrying capacity, and they will enter in the green zone. because their achievements and resources will be shared. So finally, what happened? It will enter the green zone. This will look like these countries' figure spots will be just becoming this like circular one, so that the human development will be between zero point 0.6 and 1, and also ecological footprint will be something like point 1 and 0.6, so that in a very justifiable way we are attaining the world can reform its activities in a better sustainable way. And sometimes it might be known as circular economy. That's what I feel, because this is having this is said to be researched. Then I thought that when I got in a circular pattern, I thought this might be sometimes circular economy, because of using this circular economy theory only we can attain, and also through sharing and caring between biocapacity rich nations and human development high nations. Future sustainable earth scenario is what I have explained. The curvilinear scatter diagram turns to circular one in green zone with high E and CC nearer to or more than 1. CC more than 1. E should be very high. CC should be more than 1, so that earth is contained. So that is a strategy we can apply. And sometimes when we are presenting this to international community, they may not agree to this, because they are not willing to share their achievements, human development achievements, to the least developed countries. But so that means there is an imbalance in the society, intragenerational imbalance, also intergenerational, we can say on a later stage only. Intragenerational imbalance is there, that is to be addressed. Then only world will move in the sustainable way. Otherwise, world will be going in the negative direction, and we may end up with a tragedy. And the COVID situation, it is a harbinger, it's a warning only. And if we are not listening to it, or developed countries and the least development countries' issues are not addressed by developed countries, because they are grabbing the biocapacity rights of the least developed countries, so that in an ethical manner they should share these two, so that they should enter in green zone. India is a role model, but India can, with using E and CC theory, their human development profile can be increased if they are using E and CC theory for the betterment of the nation. Again, sustainable development goals, once more I have included. I have already explained it, because it's a comprehensive goal which includes all other goals. See, SDG 11 is a comprehensive SDG, and presently every other person on the earth, more than every other person on the earth, that is more than 50% of the world population are living in a city. Cities are the hope. To attain a sustainable earth, cities are the hope, because the people are, more than 50% of the people are living in a city. If cities are managed efficiently, and we can attain a lot. That's what. And by the projections, by 2030, it is attaining 60%. That is 60% of the population will be going living in a city, and by 2050, it will be 70%. That's what the United Nations projections tells. But I say that it should be accelerated, that in order to attain a sustainable city scenario, sustainable earth scenario, we have to concentrate on this comprehensive goal, so that all other goals will be attained altogether, and we can move in a very, very nice way, and we can achieve a better world. World urbanization to be accelerated, and environmental efficiency to be attained city-based, so that regions will be free to enhance biological capacity. Because so many people, they should be accommodated in a very less area in a planned way, so that because of the nearness and economies of scale, economy will be generated. Because there is a local, if you are working towards global warming, there is a global benefit, local benefit also, because we are attaining economy because of the economies of scale and nearness. And while we are leaving the other places, that's ecologically resource regions, we are remaining untouched, so that their biocapacity will be increased. That can be in a Kerala-like situation, it can be achieved by biocapacity, trading by not biocapacity, transfer of development rights from the agricultural areas to the city centers where there is an ample vacant spaces inside the city. That means for Cochin city itself, because of the NRI investments, there are a hell a lot of vacant spaces are there, vacant plots are there. If you are giving the development rights, very high FAR, of course we can give, but only with agricultural TDR. If you are simply giving a high FAR, it is not justified. Because if you are giving agricultural TDR, the people living in the rural areas, they will also be benefited. They will be getting the economy benefit. At the same time, ecosystems will be protected. And if the cities are not done properly, it will end up in chaos and miseries and less prosperity, and hell of a lot of problems are going to take place if the humanity or mankind is not taking this seriously. This is the SDG 11, the mother SDG GIF animation prepared by one of my interns. That means, in fact, it was CE volunteer service done by architect Shenas. Her name is from Trichur Engineering College. She's an architect planner, and she was doing voluntary service for CE. And she made this. That's out of 17 goals. The Earth is, that means SDG 11 is put at the center, sustainable cities and communities, and all other 16 goals are all around. And since this is a comprehensive goal, all other 16 goals can be attained if we are concentrating on sustainable cities. And this is a mantra. That means E and CC are the mantra. If not me, that means one day or the world has to accept this if we are proceeding with in order to contain the global warming scenario. E and CC theory has to be accepted. It may be in some other name, maybe by some other country, but this is the truth, and this is the only way we can attain prosperity and sustainability. Thank you for all your presence, that for your patient listening. And I'm so happy that at least we are patient enough to listen to what I have formulated in my presentation.
Yeah, that was really an informative session, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the valuable information you have shared. Actually, your studies, your depth of knowledge, your ability to present the subject in such an interesting manner, we produced such a valuable session. Since we are entering into such a tragic situation, as you explained, your session and comments are too precious. So thank you again for the contribution. And I would like to thank Jayashree ma'am, also retired from Town Planning Department, who also contributed service for GCDA and who played a major important role in the translation process of the study. I request Jayashree ma'am to talk a few words.
First of all, I congratulate Dr. May Matthew for starting a knowledge sharing session under CE. And in fact, the first session itself was interesting one, and it clearly presented the Earth Overshoot Day concept nicely through illustrations also. Environmental efficiency, carrying capacity, and sustainable development are also clearly presented through the presentations. Thank you, Dr. May Matthew, for your good acknowledgements for me. And I understand that CE is doing many efforts to make awareness for a better environment and sustainable development, all for a better Earth. And I am very happy to be a part of your works in this way. Humans are overutilizing the available resources, and the Earth Overshoot Day reminds us this. Though the pandemic has induced a lot of negative impacts on human beings, we can see that it did some positive things to the environment and thus to the Earth. This points out the fact that the nature will definitely interfere when it is overexploited. Being a living organism on Earth, I also like to extend my small efforts to make a better Earth. Hence, thank you once again for giving me an opportunity in your works and let us move the day together for a better earth. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really so thankful words. As said by all other speakers and the sessions, we can come to the conclusion. The safety of the mother planet Earth is in our hands. So we should take the right step at the right moment to save the Mother Earth from the foolish activities of the mankind. As the secular prayer says, all living organisms have a role to play. All have an indispensable role to sustain this planet and mankind. We should attain the rightful personalities. All should be respected and protected. We all should be united to lift this planet and mankind towards a sustainable world of today and tomorrow. I am because we are. A strong message for all generations. Let us also always have this attitude and spread happiness wherever we go. So here we are winding up the session by the Patti Smith inspiring song. It is such an energy-giving song which summarizes that the people have the power to redeem this world from the foolish activities of the mankind. Here it goes. I was dreaming in my dreaming of an aspect bright and fair, and my sleeping it was broken. But my dream it lingered near in the form of shining valleys, where the pure air recognized, and my senses newly opened. I awakened to the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools. Upon the meek, the grace is shower. It's decree the people rule.
I will play that song, which is included in my website. That is as an inspiring song. But whenever I hear that song, I get inspired because people have the power. Systems may not be having the power, but people have the power. Once the people have the power, and if all the people are making an effort, the systems will change and the trends will change, and we can attain a better world together. So I will just play a 2 stanza of the song by Patti Smith, Miss Madam Patti Smith, which is included in my website.
I was dreaming in my dreaming, well, of an aspect bright and fair, and my sleeping it was broken, but my dream it lingered near in the farm of shining valleys, where the pure air rarefied, and my senses are newly opened. I will waken into the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools. Upon the meek, the grace is showered. It's decree the people rule. People have the power. People have the